On July 1st, 2020, a phone call shattered the quiet morning for Alman. On the other end was Jonathan, her sister Elizabeth's longtime boyfriend, asking a chilling question, "Do you know where Elizabeth is?" Jonathan said Elizabeth was gone, vanished without a word, leaving behind their 7-year-old daughter Astrid alone in their East Haven, Connecticut apartment. Even stranger, her car was missing, but her phone was left behind. Alarmed but not yet panicking, Janet agreed to watch Astrid while Jonathan searched. Yet, something gnawed at her. Elizabeth would never leave Astrid. When Janet spoke to her niece, Astrid remembered falling asleep beside her mom, but waking to an empty bed, perfectly made. No arguments, no noise, just gone. Then Astrid said something odd. She was going to live with her aunt now, as if she already knew her mother wasn't coming back. Jonathan's behavior grew stranger. While Elizabeth's purse, passport, clothes, and $10,000 were missing, he casually mentioned running errands and doing laundry instead of frantically searching. He seemed detached, almost eerily calm, as if he knew there was no need to look for her. Janet knew something was wrong. Elizabeth's relationship with Jonathan was rocky, riddled with infidelity, fights, and even physical abuse. Recently, Elizabeth had been preparing to leave him for good. She applied for her own apartment. She was regaining her independence, building a life without him. Had Jonathan realized she was serious this time? Had he decided that if he couldn't have her, no one would? Then came the bizarre texts. From a Florida number, someone claiming to be Elizabeth sent stilted Spanish messages, asking for space, insisting she was safe. But something about the tone, the words, it wasn't Elizabeth. Janet wasn't fooled. Neither was their father, Albino. Jonathan painted Elizabeth as unstable. He said she was drinking heavily, seeing other men, trying to start a new life. But his calm demeanor, his eagerness to move on, and the inconsistencies in his story only deepened the family's suspicions. Jonathan spun a tangled web of half-truths and convenient lies, hoping to confuse them, to make them doubt their instincts. But love sees clearly, and love does not forget. When Albino and Janet pushed harder, they learned Elizabeth's car, supposedly missing, had been seen parked at their duplex. A neighbor's security camera captured Jonathan moving the white Lexus himself. Confronted, Jonathan's story changed yet again. Now he claimed Elizabeth ran off to Mexico to fix her immigration status, and he helped by hiding her car. But there were too many holes, too many contradictions. His lies crumbled under scrutiny. But where was Elizabeth? Police started piecing together a darker story. They traced the Elizabeth text messages back to a fake number created using Jonathan E.'s home Wi-Fi and his email address. Then they pulled surveillance footage from a nearby elementary school. What they saw chilled them. The video showed Jonathan's movements, coming home from work, parking behind Elizabeth's car, moving her car into the driveway, and later, spraying air freshener into the trunk. The behavior was methodical, deliberate, like someone trying to mask something terrible. Cadaver dogs would later alert to that very trunk. The unmistakable scent of death confirmed their worst fears. Jonathan's lies unraveled. Cell phone records placed him at Home Depot buying a shovel and a hoe. Security footage captured him lurking around dumpsters behind his closed workplace for hours. Days later, on July 15th, investigators found disturbed earth behind those dumpsters. Beneath an old door, wrapped tightly in a blue blanket, was Elizabeth Alman Puka. Her cause of death, homicidal asphyxia. Bruises on her arms and back suggested a violent struggle. She fought for her life, and she died alone, discarded by the man she once loved. Jonathan was arrested in December 2020, but not before Elizabeth Oy's family endured months of agony, sharing custody of Astrid with the man they believed had murdered her mother. The heartbreak was compounded by fear. knowing Astrid was still in his reach. Despite overwhelming evidence, digital footprints, surveillance videos, fake texts, lies, cadaver dog alerts, prosecutors feared conviction at trial. They worried that without an eyewitness, a confession, or the perfect smoking gun, jurors might hesitate. They offered Jonathan a deal: plead guilty to murder in exchange for a 25-year sentence. Elizabeth's family fought back. They refused to let her story be diminished. They refused to let her be reduced to a footnote. In February 2024, Jonathan finally admitted to the murder. 25 years for a lifetime stolen. But the fight is not over. Elizabeth's story highlights the invisible battles so many face behind closed doors. The manipulation, the fear, the hopelessness that traps victims in abusive relationships. It's not always bruises you can see. Sometimes, it's bruises on the soul. Victims are often isolated, gaslit, made to feel that they have nowhere to go, no one to believe them. Elizabeth tried to leave. She tried to rebuild. She tried to live. And for that, she paid the ultimate price. The pain for Elizabeth's family lingers. Astrid, so young, grows up without the mother who loved her fiercely. Janet and Albino remain haunted by the signs they missed, by the trust they once gave Jonathan. Every birthday, every holiday, every ordinary moment is a reminder of who is missing. Elizabeth E.'s story is a brutal reminder. The most dangerous moment for a victim of domestic abuse is when they try to leave. Behind every missed call, every silent morning, every "she just needed space" excuse, there may be a life in danger. Domestic violence doesn't always look like bruises. Sometimes it's isolation. Sometimes it's control masked as concern. Sometimes it's carefully constructed lies, designed to keep victims trapped until it's too late. Statistics paint a grim picture. According to the United Nations, one woman or girl is killed by an intimate partner or family member every 11 minutes. That's 4 lives lost by the time you've listened to this story. 4 daughters, sisters, mothers. Silenced. Elizabeth tried to break free. She built her strength. She planned her escape. But even then, the system failed to protect her. Fear, manipulation, and control cost Elizabeth her life. Today, her family fights not just for her memory, but for all victims who never got the chance to tell their stories. They fight for awareness, for reform, for a world where leaving doesn't mean risking everything. It is not enough to tell victims to just leave. We must create a world where leaving is safe, where help is immediate, where abusers face real consequences before tragedy strikes. Elizabeth's death was preventable. Her voice was silenced, but her story will not be. If you or someone you know needs help, don't wait. Trust your instincts. Speak out. Seek support. There are shelters, hotlines, organizations ready to help, confidentially, compassionately, without judgment. Because silence can be fatal. And because every victim deserves to survive, to heal, and to live free from fear. Break the silence. Honor Elizabeth. Save a life.